What's up, guys? Welcome back to the channel. Tonight we're going to talk about holding on to negative feelings and the weight of that. So people in general, we all have these negative feelings that we feel. And when I mean negative feelings, I mean feelings like hate, animosity, remorse, sadness, those things. Holding on to stuff. And honestly, that is probably the heaviest burden you could ever bear, is to hate somebody else and to hold on to it forever. And sadness and remorse and all those negative feelings that cause us anxiety and cause us to, just darken and dampen our existence. We worry and we struggle with worrying about everything nowadays, because everything is just so fast and everything is a priority. And guys, we really don't stop and smell the flowers anymore. We don't really take time for self-help. We don't take the time to work through our problems and understand why we are in pain and why we feel negative emotions toward one another or toward a situation or whatever have you. But it does create anxiety for us. And there was a quote that I read today that was pretty self-explanatory when it comes to anxiety, and I'll read it to you now. It said, "Worries is like a rocking chair. It gives you something to do, but it doesn't get you anywhere." And the author was anonymous. And that is absolutely true. And that goes with the same of holding the weight of hate in your heart. That don't really get you anywhere. And it really doesn't give you any validation in life at the end. I mean, when it's all said and done and you're laying on your deathbed and you're holding on to that hate, that doesn't give you any validation of life. It doesn't really help with your quality of life either. It actually really kind of degrades it. So holding on to negative feelings, I really try not to myself hold on to negative feelings. I try to work through my feelings, and sometimes I have to write it down in a journal. Sometimes I have to kind of talk myself through it. Sometimes I have to just sit down and listen to my favorite songs and work my way through it. However you do it, it doesn't matter, but it is very important for your mental health that you do that. The weight of holding hatred is not worth it, guys. Being forgiving and giving somebody, you can forgive them. You don't necessarily have to forget what they done to you, but you can forgive them and you can move on with your life. Forgetting, you don't see people say forgive and forget. That's not true. You can forgive somebody and say, look, I know that you did me wrong. I understand that or whatever the situation may be, but you can forgive that person, and you don't necessarily have to forget that they hurt you. But it's like childbirth. It's like I hear stories about women saying that about childbirth is how easily they forget how painful childbirth is, because if they didn't forget about it, they would never have another kid. And it's kind of like the same thing of bearing weight of hatred. I mean, if you bear the weight of hatred for somebody else, then all you're doing is lessening your quality of life. You're making undue anxiety on yourself. And you really start digging yourself into a hole. The weight of stuff will weigh you down. It's like you're wading through quicksand, and the more you hate, the more weight you bear, and you just start really getting, weighed and bogged down, and you just don't have a very fulfilling, healthy life. Holding on to anger and holding on to hatred is like drinking poison and expecting the other person to die. And so you have to start working through your problems, and you have to believe in yourself. You have to believe that, you know, maybe, you know, you can take the higher grounds in this, and you can forgive this person, and you can say, look, I know this person done me wrong and it really hurt, but I can tell you guys, I in my life have suffered 1,000 broken hearts to one fulfilled heart. I can promise you. I felt so much pain and rejection in my life, from so many different people, and you know, people that I truly, genuinely loved, and they just broke my heart time and time again. And I bared that burden for a while, man, and I held that against people for a while. But I soon learned that, you know, the reasons for some of my anxiety and the reasons for some of my actions and how I was dealing with life at that point, you know, everybody was getting a piece of what a few people did. And it's not really fair to anybody else. It wasn't fair to me. So I had to learn to work through it and let it go. And I know that there's millions of people. Everybody has suffered pain and rejection and hatred, and everybody feels those emotions. And not everybody works through them. But if you can work through them, and you can you can work yourself through it. Like, if you can get yourself to the point to where you can give yourself the chance to forgive this person and to move on with your life, you're completely going to have a more fulfilled life. And your strength and resolve and rigidity and everything about your life will just be amplified, and you would just be a happier person. Sometimes we have to smile through the pain, you know, but a smile is contagious. And if you smile through some pain, man, maybe sometimes that smile will help dull it a little bit, you know. It's hard, I understand. But you have to believe in yourself. You have to give yourself a chance. You have to have resolve. You have to have understanding of what the reasons why you feel this way, and you have to work through them, guys. And there's so many things out there you can do. There's self-help videos you can listen to. There's worksheets you can work through your emotions with. There's counseling. There's friends. There's family. There's confidants. There's significant others. There's children. I mean, you can talk to your kids, you know, and you ain't necessarily got to weigh your problems on your kids, but your kids can give you a little ray of light by just saying, just tell them how much you love them and hug them and stuff, you know. I mean, just showing them love. Well, showing love a lot of times will help, you know, quell some feelings of anxiety and hatred and not being fulfilled. And another thing I've struggled with in my life that most people do, but I'm learning every day to do better, is in loving without condition. A lot of people love and expect to be loved in return, or some people love and expect some kind of result from that love, and you really shouldn't do that. You really should, if you love somebody and you want to love that person, you should love them unconditionally, without any condition, without anything. You just love them. And, you know, if you love without condition, without expectation, you know, and you go into situations a lot of times without expectation, then you're less liable to be let down. You're more liable to kind of come out of it with a clearer head, and you won't pick up on things that might not necessarily be there. You know, if you have a conversation with somebody and it's just wonderful and awesome and blah, 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 and you go into this conversation with some expectations, and maybe you'll hear some things that the person was saying that you misinterpreted as something that was totally not what was meant when that was said. If you get my drift, like, you know, you'll read between the lines a little too hard. So love without expectation, guys. Love without condition. And you know, I always say on my channels, you need to shoot your shot. You don't need to worry about where you're at in life. Shoot your shot, and it's, you know, there's no regrets in that. So If you shoot your shot, you get rejected, or if you shoot your shot and things don't quite pan out, then you know the outcome. Then you don't have to live your life with wondering why or maybe or how, or maybe how would that have turned out if I'd have done this, or how would I have done, I should have had the courage to do that. So guys, all these negative emotions that you feel, regrets and remorse. I mean, we all mourn our loved ones, man, and their memories, the pain, but it's good to remember those people for the good that they put in your life. And while you might shed a tear for somebody that you lost, you should also feel joy in your heart for knowing that person. So guys, I wish that I had the means to take the weight of life off of everybody, but I don't. So the only thing I can tell people is, don't let your negative emotions weigh you down. Don't let things drive you in the ground. And don't carry that stuff. It's so heavy, man. Hating people is so heavy. And, regret, remorse, sadness, hate, animosity, jealousy, all of those really bad emotions are very, very heavy. And guys, I can just tell you, do what you do with yourself that helps you work through those problems, that you can shed them and you can move on with your life. Because don't carry the weight of hate on you, because hating is just, I've seen it ruin so many people's lives, that they get absorbed into hatred for somebody else, and then next thing you know, that hatred consumes them, and then they're just not the same person, and they're not good to be around, and they're toxic, and that's not good, guys. So anyway, that's our talk for tonight. Like, share, and subscribe. Hit that notification bell if you like what you hear, and I'll see you guys next time.